be a breeze. Get in, get out. No further. Look sharp. Lightning blade. My turn. Take it. Scoop back. Stand back. I'll trip it up. Sword Rain Alpha.
Do it. This ends now.
Consider yourself finished.
With this, I can become even stronger.
Gotta break through. Here I come. Strike. Try harder.
This has got your name on him.
This one's all mine. Time to cross blades. There you are. Now or never. Sword Rain Alpha. Try this.
By the power of water.
Splendid.
I'll crush you! Lightning reflexes! Tenebrous claw!
Tempting
Sword
Sword.
Rain Alpha. Win.
Lunar Blast. Tunnel.
Take
I'll
this.
heal you all.
Eat this!
Strike.
Whirlwind snap!
Dragon Swarm.
Holy
Sword
Glitter.
Rain Alpha. Try this.
Crumble!
Healing Circle.
Splendid.
Super swallow dance!
Here I come.
Pull myself together.
Third win.
One more. Air thrust.
You're mine.
No further!
In here.
I'm on. Strike.
Eat this. Lightning.
Take this.
I won't lose.
All mine. Sword Rain Alpha. Not today.
I'll stop its charge. Thanks, Kisara.
Not done.
Into the
First strike.
It's time to finish this! Die! Consuming wildfire! Here I go. I'm only getting started.
Rising Wyvern. I'm not done. Sword Rain Alpha.
Far enough! Breaking the dust!
Take this. Several wins.
You require a hand.
No escape.
Where are you going? Just what I needed.
Swallow dance!
You're mine.
It's over.
Sword Rain Alpha.
Take this!
Eternal devastation. Try harder. My turn.
Beat this has got your name on him!
I'm not. This one's all mine. Sword Rain Alpha.
Now I'm in the groove!
Solid strike. Take this.
I'll crush you! Lightning reflexes! Tenebrous claw! I'll tear you
You're
apart!
mine. Sword Rain Alpha. You picked the wrong fight.
Healing Circle.
Sword Rain Alpha.
Burning Strike. Glacial Spear. Here's the evil. Here's another. Blazer. Confiscating.
Armor won't save you!
Here I come. Chill.
This ends now.
Consider yourself finished.
There's always room for improvement.
Go no further.
Engaging.
In a bind?
More for the sun.
You're mine. Take down their defenses. I see one.
Take this!
Sonic Thrust.
This one's mine.
It's over. It's on.
Here, let me help. First aid.
You picked the wrong fight. Here I come. Sword Rain Alpha. Next.
Raging Cascade.
No escape.
Sweet now.
Severing wind.
Healing time. Thanks.
I'm not done.
No further!
Burning Strike.
Take
Now
this.
for something special.
Fire support.
The enemy wields art.
Do it. We'll receive astral energy.
Say no more.
Here's a healing arc.
My turn.
Shattering the
It's on.
Astral
I'll spread it out. Be my guest. Severing wind. Feeling down.
Here.
Sword Rain Alpha. Wind.
Lunar Horizon.
All finish Cyclone!
This should come in handy when crafting weapons.
Ow!
You got spirit!
Denied!
Confiscated!
Try harder! It's time!
They really don't give up, do they?
Take this!
In a bind?
Freeze Lancer!
Win!
Here's a healing heart!
Infernal Torrent! Talon Hurricane! An astral art?
That's my cue! Here's a healing
Swordman
heart!
Alpha! Shut him down!
And this world!
Take this!
Talon Hurricane! Burn! It's a raging destiny!
Swordman Alpha! Double me! In an instant! Impact Block! My turn!
Ignite!
Ignite!
Rain down and Searing I'm only getting started!
Eat this! Armor won't save you! Swordman Alpha!
In here!
Look sharp! Lightning Tiger Blade!
Here, let me
Now!
help!
I'm ready! I'm not done! Take this! Strike!
Glacial Spear!
Mirage!
Yes!
Dance!
Sleep Lancer!
Swordman Alpha!
Don't get careless.
Those soldiers don't seem to have any qualms about attacking on sight.
No backing down!
I'll
take it! Try harder!
The helix of purity!
Do you require a hand?
Annihilation! Where are you going? I think I'll pass on the
You're mine! Swordman Alpha! Burn in hell! I can do this all day! Swordman Alpha!
Illuminate the dawn!
Watch this! All good things come to an end. I'll tear you apart! Armor won't save you! You're mine! Eat this! Swordman Alpha! Roll now! You require a hand. No further! Severing Wind! Try harder! Not a chance!
Illuminate the dawn!
I'm not done!
Holy
Mirage!
Holy Light!
Win! Take this!
Just getting
Hurricane Thrust! This time!
Tectonic Spark!
Try harder! You're mine! Severing Wind! Stardust!
In here!
Mirage! Sword Rain Alpha! Crumble! Stardust! Mirage! Throbs and
Come on, roll now!
Dragon Force! Sword Rain Alpha!
Illuminate the dark! I never miss! Holy Land! I will you all!
A charge like that could easily be fatal.
Just as well, I'm here to stop.
I'll crush you! Lightning reflexes! Tenebrous claw! Here I come! Can't get out of this! I'll finish you here and now!
Oh, violent starting wind!
Now you see what I can do! Come on, roll now! Burn in hell! Take this! Sword Rain Alpha! Come on, roll now! Run could you do without this thing? Here I come!
Do it!
Chill!
This ends now!
Consider yourself finished! I can feel my power growing! Gotta break through! In a bind? Take this! Strike! Swallow game! I owe you one! You're mine!
Trying to keep up with the wall!
Blended Blast!
Far enough! More without
I'll bring you down.
Here I come!
Do it!
sharp! Lightning Tiger Blade!
Radiant Blast!
Now!
I'm on it!
Here!
You're mine! I'm not done!
I'll finish you
You're
here
flame
now!
inside me!
I'll
You're
tear you
to be
apart!
let free!
Grenade!
You're mine!
Radiant
Do it!
Blast!
Kill me! In an instant! Impact Cross! Now!
Radiant Hurricane!
Here I come!
To the fray!
Ignite! Look sharp! Lightning Tiger Blade!
Well then, let's keep moving.
Go no further!
Bring them down! Justin! Now you see what I can do!
Mega Ray!
Here I come!
I'm the true gunslinger around here.
I'm just getting started!
Here's what I help.
Strike!
First aid!
Soaring Light Spear! Strike!
By the power of water! Not on my watch!
Take
Ready to go!
Sword Rain Alpha!
First aid!
That's it!
Release!
Lightning descent!
First try! Sonic Thrust!
There you are! Now remember, easy snap.
Look sharp! Lightning Tiger Blade!
Dragon
My
Shield!
turn! Here I come!
There you go!
Engage!
Now!
This!
Astral energy!
Say no more!
Searing flame!
My turn! Ignite!
Searing flame! Hurricane!
Sword Rain Alpha! Burn!
It's over! Now! Astral energy!
Say no more!
Water, hear my
Now!
call!
No escape!
Spread!
Shattering pieces! Attack time!
Wind!
Talon Storm!
Strike!
I'm
Mirage!
just getting
Here
started!
I come! Sword Rain Alpha! Kisara! Commander of Heaven!
Phoenix Cyclone!
Any injuries?
Ow! I can carve through all! Eat this!
Soaring Wind! Searing Gale!
Can't
Now
let
I'm
the
real
hatred
mad!
consume me!
Now we're not...
Dragon Shout!
You're mine!
Can't get out of this!
Lightning attack! Hear my burning strike!
You're mine!
Flicker Flame!
Flame inside me! You're to be let free!
Astral energy!
Say no more!
Here, let me help.
No chance!
Lightning raging cascade!
Wind!
Flame! Reload!
Come on!
Now, here's
Severed
evil!
Wind! Mirage! Sword Rain Alpha!
Dreams!
Watch this!
Healing far beyond the target sky! Annihilation!
I owe you one! Here I come!
Super
Severed Wind! Take this!
This ends now!
Consider yourself finished! Now! Take this! Wind! Take this!
Talon Hurricane!
Eagle Fly!
I'm just
We're not finished!
Should have messed with me!
More lightning!
Can't get out of this!
Here I come! Sword Rain Alpha! Control! Look sharp! Lightning Tiger Blade! No! Here I come!
Armor won't save you!
Crush my shield! Sealing Gale!
I'll crush you! Lightning reflexes! Tenebrous claw!
Am I on a roll or what?
Well, look who's in a bright and shiny mood.
This must be it. The entrance to the Forbidden Zone.
But it's just a wall. How do we get through?
Whoa, we? I thought this was Sovereigns only.
Alphen.
Yes! It opened!
Interesting. If Alphen's presence still opens the way, it would seem the Sovereign of 3 centuries ago and now are considered one and the same.
What?
What the?
Alphen.
You again.
Tomorrow's the spirit channeling ceremony. We'll finally play our parts as the Sovereign and Maiden. How have you been feeling?
What am I sovereign of? Shuffled from lab to lab, always treated like an experiment. Whenever they look at me, all they see is a Danon. I don't even know what their precious ceremony's for, let alone what they're going to force me to do as the Sovereign. Tell me, if we're both in the same boat, why do you seem so calm right now?
No choice. Becoming the Maiden's not something I wanted for myself. But they said Rena's prosperity depended on it. How could I say no after that?
Still, as a Renan, at least you got to decide. Good for you. Meanwhile, I was taken from my homeland. You aren't the captive one here.
It isn't right what they did to you, and I'm sorry for what it's worth. When this is over, I swear I'll help you get home. I can't do this alone. One more day.
How could I say no to that? It's not like I have any choice in the matter anyway. So, what's your name?
It's Naori. Naori Imaris. Try to remember this time.
You don't act like them. Like the other Renans, I mean. How come you treat me like a person?
Because you are. It's true we come from different worlds. But neither one of us asked to be here right now. In that sense, you and I are much the same. We couldn't do this. We wouldn't be able to talk to each other as people if we didn't see the humanity in each other. So I suppose the question you should be asking is, why wouldn't I treat you like one?
You're not like the others.
Maybe they're not like me.
Here's what we'll do. We give them their damn ceremony. You get me to Dana. That'll be the end of it. I'm taking you at your word on this. I'm trusting you, not them. Naori.
What the hell just happened?
That vision. Did everyone else see it too?
That person Alphen was speaking to.
It was Naori.
She really does look like Shion.
That's all very well and fine, but what did we just witness exactly?
It was a conversation we had 300 years.
You mean all of that really happened? We just saw an episode straight out of...
But how is that even possible? Unless...
No, I don't think so.
Why not?
You guys didn't feel it? The moment the entrance opened, it was like a stream of Danon astral energy rushing over us.
I felt it too. And not for the first time either. It was the same sensation.
That would make sense. After all, vast amounts of Dana, for all we know. Perhaps we're close to the spot where all...
So you think it might have been the energy itself that was responsible for...
We have no way of knowing. Maybe it's not...
Shion.
Yeah. So that was my ancestor, huh?
Yeah, there certainly is.
What about you?
Me?
Even putting aside the question of where that vision came from, reliving painful episodes from your past.
I can't just pretend like the past. Besides, if it helps us uncover the truth of what that ceremony really was...
Alphen.
That's not all. This whole... I'd like to liberate them too, if I can.
Whether you're on Dana or somewhere else, you always stay the same. Not that I'm complaining. Come on, let's bust this thing one...
Nobody's here.
Stay sharp. After that last illusion, there's no telling what could happen in here.
Faria, how did you get in here?
Wait, something about her isn't right.
What's wrong with her? She doesn't even seem to know where she is.
Yeah, you're right. She looks just like the soldiers we encountered outside.
A summoning?
But that's preposterous. She never had that kind of power when...
We can talk later. Here it comes!
What? I've never known Faria to control Zugos like that before.
How about with a stone that looks suspiciously like a master core?
Where did she get her hands on that?
First we handle the Zugos, then we get some answers.
Get a word! First vote!
Illuminate the dark! Come on,
Glacial
holy
Spear.
glitter! Carry this! Here goes! Where are you going?
Sword Rain Alpha!
In a bind?
First strike! Silvering Wind!
Radiant
Take
Dark!
this! Sword Rain Alpha!
Here's
Did you
evil.
hear? Now!
Radiant Dark!
Take this! Ruin
Armor won't save you!
Ruin
All disasters made one! Come on! He's closer!
Dust to dust!
It's this it?
Don't give up! Sorry.
Tectonic Rise!
They're off.
Off my focus! Glimmer Dragon!
Resuscitation! I'll heal you all!
Inspiration! Dragon Scout! You're mine!
Can't get out of
Pull
this!
myself together. Back in
Dragon
Dragon
Punch!
Punch!
Dragon Scout! Burn! Burn!
Now I'm into
Now it's a flame inside me yearns to be let free! Mirage! Take this!
Charge like that could easily be fatal.
Just as well, I'm here to stop.
I'll finish you here
Here's
again!
the evil.
Truck!
Sleep now.
Eat this! I'll smash you!
I'll breathe laser.
Now we're not...
It's weakened.
This ends now! Sword Rain Alpha! Try this! You're done! Backblast! Severing Wind!
That'll bring you
Oh,
down.
you are gonna pay for that!
Here I come!
I'll bring you back to
Move!
what
Is
you
this
want.
it?
Resuscitation.
These sticks
Here,
have
let
got
me
your
help.
name on them! First strike!
Good.
Glimmer Dragon! Eagle! crush you! Lightning reflexes! Tenebrous claw! First strike! Denied! Talon hurricane! Not my finest. You'll pay for that! You're mine! Severing wing! No escape!
Here goes!
Here I come! Kisara! Commander of Heaven! Phoenix Cyclops! Here I come!
Supernova!
Sora! Talon hurricane!
Waterfall!
Burn!
Annihilator!
You're on!
Dance to the
Take it!
wind!
It's gonna attack!
Right, watch out!
Here I come! This is all mine! Win!
If it's in the sky, it's mine! I play clear!
Stay away from my friend! Win!
Dance in the wind! Sleep now, resuscitate! Far enough!
No escape!
Not my finest!
Eat dirt!
Here's evil!
You're mine! Sword Rain Alpha! Dragon Swarm!
I'll bring you back from death to bid!
Sword Rain Alpha! No! It can't end here!
Don't leave me!
Eat this! One more! I'll tear you apart! What? Water! Talon hurricane! Ready and real! Not my finest!
I'll heal you all! I never miss!
Here, take this! Take this!
Illuminate the
do this all day! Take this! Swallow gas! Severing wind!
Dance in the wind!
Shattering pieces! Attack time! Cut! We've got him on the run!
Don't get cocky!
Right. Still anyone's fight. Sword Rain Alpha! Eat this! Talon Storm! Rending blood!
I can do this all day!
Yours to be let free! Now! Take
Pull
this!
myself together!
I'm not done! Ignite! Big blast! Here I come! I'm not done! Strike! Force now! Strike!
I'll tear you apart! It's about to strike!
No further! Look sharp, everyone!
Feel! Burning strike!
Here I come! Win! Stop!
Here, let me help!
Feel!
I never miss!
Armor won't save you! Here I come! Win!
Radiant light!
Here I come!
Do it!
Swallow dance! Doubly! In an instant! Impact block! Now it's just her!
Faria! Can you hear me? Faria!
She's preparing another summoning!
The art she's casting is way too powerful to control. At this rate, her body won't be able to take much more. Dohalim!
Forgive me.
Man, I thought we were goners.
Everything okay?
Yes. She's only unconscious.
Not her. I meant you.
Shion, please. Can you treat her?
I can try, but I can't promise she'll be back to her real self when she wakes up. All I can do is heal her physically.
We're not even supposed to be in here. Maybe it'd be better if we moved her to somewhere a little safer. Don't you think?
In that case...
I'll take her off your hands.
You?
Avakir, what are you doing here?
I was curious what you were up to, so I took the liberty of following you to find out. I overheard what you said about Tarnigan, about how he really died. I'm sorry. I had no idea.
And you believed me? What makes you so sure I wasn't lying?
I like to think I know you a little better than that, Dohalim. Give me some credit. I'll take Faria. Leave her with me. I know better than to ask what you're up to. But whatever it is, I hope it all works out.
Thank you.
He seems like a good friend.
He hasn't changed. He never was one to stand out. Instead, he was always As for Faria, it's always the closest to me who get hurt.
You don't seriously blame yourself for what happened.
Somebody got to her. Strike back at me. Someone who knew me well enough to know that I'd hesitate to... And the same goes for you as well. Neither you nor Faria would have lost loved ones.
You're wrong. Kelzelik was the one who killed my brother, under orders from Almadria. As for Tarnagan, if it weren't for the crown contest, he'd still be alive. That and the whole... But that's why we're fighting. To put an end...
Indeed. Ridding society of this blight...
You can't atone. I know it hurts to hear, but those people are dead. No amount of forgiveness, acceptance, though...
So I just forget the harm I caused?
No, the opposite, in fact. You remember. You never forget. You keep it in your heart always. And then you go on living, not for those already passed, but for those still...
For those still...
Kisara's right. So long as we've still got breath in our bodies, we can make a difference in the lives of others.
That's what living's all about. Being able to... Punishing yourself for the past won't make the...
Only fixing the problem in its stead.
That's right. You have to live for tomorrow, Dohalim, not for yesterday. And not only that, you need to live for yourself.
Don't forget, we've still got a mystery to solve.
Shion.
Huh?
Thank you. You have my deepest
Glad to be of service.
I'm glad we could stop Faria without hurting her.
You all did much for her as well. I'm most grateful.
Oh, shucks. We're on the same team.
Do you think Faria was...
Certainly seemed that way.
The same person who's behind all of this,
Brainwashed or otherwise.
Someone used her because they knew we'd...
It does tell us one thing, at least. Someone here in...
There's no question.
by someone capable of getting inside a person and
What is it, Rinwell? Do you hear something again?
Yeah, it's that voice.
the will of Dana's astral...
What? There's so much astral energy. But where's it all coming from? It's almost like it's alive.
That was the spirit channeling ceremony just now.
What the hell was that? It felt like everything was on the brink of...
Oblivion. It's the same vision as the one my thorns show me. A vision of impenetrable darkness that swallows up us and...
An empty void. A nothing so complete and dominating that there aren't even words.
The visions of the apocalypse you've been seeing.
So, everything we just saw...
That's right. It was as if her inner...
That power flowing into her. It reminds me of Xion's thorns. If they're what's responsible for all these visions she's been having...
Maybe my thorns are made from that same astral...
If that is the case, we just found the missing link between your thorn. No, more than a link. Perhaps
I've never felt astral energy so powerful.
If it's the same energy your thorns are made of, it must be dark astral energy, right? And isn't that something only Renans have?
Correct. Dark astral energy is possessed...
And when enough astral energy gathers together, it develops its own... If so, maybe that complete oblivion is exactly what the Renan astral energy's will is wishing for. But...
I don't know. Will can be a pretty vague thing to nail down. It's more of a feeling. Just like the will of Dan...
But the will of Dana is made up of astral energy too, right? I don't know, should we really be getting some...
Dana's will would never want oblivion.
But you can't say that for sure!
Cut it out, you two. Squabbling over theories.
Let's keep moving. If it's Dana's will showing us these memories, then I'm as clueless about its motives as any one of us. But if it could lead us to the truth...
Xion's right. All we can do is keep going. If these really are Naori's memories we're watching, and I think they may be the kinds of truths...
I'm sorry about what I said earlier. Come on.
Finally.
That vision we saw. It was as if it was meant...
What do you make of it?
Maybe it's trying to tell it.
Well, it could be supernatural. You know, like seeing dead people.
That's your grand theory? That we're...
Wait. He might be closer to the... What if a person's thoughts and deeds were to somehow become indelibly... And what if those with a...
You think that's what it was? Some kind of...
I am merely entertaining the possibility. Whether it was Dana's will, or somehow connected...
Okay, back up a sec. You're saying that if a place is full of enough astral energy...
More to the point, how does that much astral energy gather in one place?
Whatever it was, it survived here intact for 300 years.
A strength. Soon, we might have to be ready to face anything. Whatever happens, I just need a little time. Soon, I have to be ready to face. I'm determined. Hold up, you guys.
What is it?
I want to look through that room over there. I'm curious what we'll find.
That's the room you visited in your past, right? Sure. We can check it out. This looks...
A laboratory secreted away in the
Looks pretty deserted.
Let's check it out.
For the people of Lenegus, the Forbidden Zone is the stuff of dreams.
It's off limits even for
Being exclusive is one thing.
Strange doesn't cover it. If it... Whoever the Sovereign is, they can't...
Did no one ever talk about it when you were...
No, not that I can remember. Then...
The Forbidden Zone is a hallowed place. That is what we believed this place to be. But now, it is finally time to discover... I think...
Well, can you make head or...
These are experiment records, by the looks of it. A composite being capable of controlling Danon astral energy, so as to convert the creation of a governing central figure, taking the form code names...
Sovereign.
Wait, there's more. Research into utilizing force field crystals for the purpose of stable astral energy. That must be the master core. With all this raw data, there's bound to be records here somewhere about the Maiden and the...
About the Lords? Why would they be on?
Think about it. The Lord's crests are clearly of a piece with those of both the Sovereign and... Not to mention the fact that the contenders to the crown are selected from otherwise regular... In other words, it may be that all Renans are unwittingly being made subject to some kind of...
What about the Sovereign? Does it say...
Where do I start? All I've read so far is the headlines. There's so much here.
What is it? Did you...
It's a list of names, with the title, it's your call.
Read it.
There must be dozens of test subjects listed here. Hundreds even. All of them failures. Wait, test subject number 1273. Alphen.
They re-engineered me. Right here.
Alphen.
It's fine, really.
Test subject number 10105. Ethnicity Volron.
Volron? He's only sovereign because someone made him that way too.
He's the last one. In 3 centuries worth of records, you and Volron are the only 2 subjects on who...
But what about the winners of the crown contests? Does this mean that none of them were ever crowned sovereign after all?
Upon victory, the sovereign shall return to Rena and rule over Rena and Lenegis combined. When a new sovereign is decided, the outgoing monarch shall relinquish their post and live out the rest of their days. But according to these records, there have only ever been 2 sovereigns, neither of whom had anything to do. It's all lies, including the part about the sovereign reside. The crown contest was never about deciding a new ruler. It must always have been devised for some other purpose.
But even supposing that's true, someone must have been in charge for the past 3 centuries, right?
Crown contests have been held this whole time, in spite of the fact that there was already a sovereign. Me. Meaning that for the past 300 years, someone out there has to have been maintaining that lie. The same person I'm...
The Red Woman?
It's possible. But that doesn't necessarily mean she's the master. She could be working for someone else. Someone back on the Renan home.
Either way, it's fair to say she...
What about the data records? Is there...
Not that I can see. Just there's nothing here about who's behind all this. Or what... I've barely managed to scratch the surface, mind you. You won't be able to read through it all. But you're welcome...
I'll do that.
So this is where Alphen became the sovereign. Only 2 sovereigns. So why has the experiment only succeeded twice in all this time? Was there really no other way?
Dohalim.
Forgive me.
Alphen.
I'm fine. But it's strange.
If that were to happen...
Yeah, we wouldn't...
That's right. No good can come from...
If you ever start to lose your way, you can count on us to guide you back.
And I would be happy to lend an
Thank you, everyone. Naori,
Don't talk. I have to do this. I gave you my word that I'd help you return to Dana. The next time you open your eyes, you'll be home.
But you...
My place is here with my people. I still have a duty to fulfill. I'm sorry for what you've endured. Rena never should have dragged you into this. It's not your burden to bear.
But...
The mask contains a sedative. It should keep your mind from tearing itself apart any further. Let yourself go to sleep. This should help with the pain. Time to go, Elfin. Farewell.
Naori...
His injuries are worse than I thought. Short-term treatment isn't going to cut it. I'll have to switch the healing pod to long-term hibernation mode. The chance of surviving hibernation's less than 10%? And worse, long-term use of the mask carries a high risk of damaging his mind and nervous system. But... If I don't head back, Lenegis will be nothing but ashes, and this starship along with it. I don't know if I can fulfill my promise to you, Alphen. But if doing this will grant you even the slightest chance, I have to try. I hope it's enough. Please, live for me, Alphen.
That vision. It must have been from when Naori helped Alph.
She sure went above and beyond the call of duty.
Even with Lenegis crumbling down around her, she chose to stay.
So that's why you lost your memories and sense of pain, and why you were asleep for that whole time. It was all the result of one...
Yeah. If it weren't for her, I wouldn't even be alive today. I owe her every...
Now that you know how she felt, how do you plan on...
She kept her promise. If the Renan people she fought so desperately to protect are at risk from a malevolent force... Naori was the one who put that mask on me. And made me Iron Mask.
She did it to prevent your soul from tearing itself apart. She knew you might lose your memories and sense of pain as a result. But more than anything, she wanted you to survive. And you did.
This place. We've seen this in one of Naori's memories.
Of course. After 300 years, this is where it was held. The spirit channeling ceremony. This is where the Renis Alma was.
So this is the place where you and Naori...
The Renis Alma isn't here now. Nor is the Red Woman, it seems.
I know it's difficult, Alphen, but there will be time to dwell on the past later. For now, we need to keep moving. Come on.
Naori.
What is this? Is it the work of Dana's will again?
It's been a year since the ceremony. That day, I shut away inside of myself the power that caused Alphen to lose control. Since then, my visions of the future have grown more and more fearsome.
Is this another memory? No, it's different this time. It's like she's speaking directly to us.
What we did back then. Not so much as a day passes when I don't think about it. About what was done to us. All in the name of a ceremony. The purpose of which we were never even told. As Sovereign, they linked Alphen's consciousness to Lenegis itself. The Renis Alma was intended to control his power, lest anything should slip through its cracks. That day, as Maiden, my role was to temper his power. I was meant to guide it forth, and give shape to the strength inside of him.
Linked to Lenegis itself? But then, everything that's been happening...
But that power showed me a vision. A vision of oblivion. When I realized that vision was a prophecy of the apocalypse we were about to unleash, I couldn't go through with it. But without a maiden, the ceremony was doomed. Alphen lashed out, his consciousness no longer his own. I did what I could. Using my abilities as the maiden, I tried to seal that power away inside of me. But it was too late. Lenegis had already been brought to its knees. Thousands upon thousands of lives so cruelly snuffed out. All because of me. Because of what I had done. With the destructive force now slumbering inside of me, I knew I had to find a way to dispose of it. Anything to make up for my failure. But I didn't know how. Especially since that power was astral energy itself. In which case, ironically enough, the Renis Alma seemed to be my best bet. That, at least, would hold the astral energy dormant. Assuming that no malevolent third party got to it first. With the Sovereign and Maiden's combined power, perhaps I could shift the chaotic energy inside me into the Renis Alma instead. That's what I hoped, but alas, it was not to be. The Renis Alma was lost, and Alphen, the Sovereign, was in a starship bound for Dana. My only choice was to seal away the destructive force inside of me using my powers as the Maiden, to buy the world what little time I could. The time needed for a new Renis Alma to be crafted, and for a new Sovereign to appear. Even if by doing so, it meant I would be passing the curse on to my descendants as well. Please, forgive me. I never meant to burden the future world with this threat too. I only wish that there was something more I could have done.
Wait, you can't just...
Naori.
That message just now, was it directly from Naori? Or was it the Danan voice speaking through her?
What?
These are the clothes that Naori and I wore during the ceremony 3 centuries ago.
So you're saying this Is the Maiden's outfit?
That's right. These clothes are designed to resonate with the Sovereign and Maiden's abilities. They focus and enhance them.
And they appeared now because...
Naori must have left them here for the new Sovereign and Maiden, knowing the day would come when they would need them in their fight against the Thorns.
These outfits are directly linked to the answers we've been chasing this whole time. If they're here, it must mean it was Naori's will for us to find those answers as well.
Locating the Renis Alma would allow us to neutralize the dark astral energy inside Shion, thereby silencing her thorns. Is that what Naori's suggesting?
It makes sense. After all, Master Cores and Spirit Vessels are both able to prevent the astral energy inside them from developing sentience. By that logic, it would stand to reason that the Renis Alma would have the same ability on a larger scale.
We have a Maiden and Sovereign. Now all we need is the Renis Alma, and we'll finally be able to free you of your thorns. Shion.
It's possible? You really think so?
I do. We can rid you of your thorns and stop the world from falling to oblivion.
However, the spirit channeling ceremony already failed once. Even if our goal is different this time, we can't be sure the same thing won't happen again. We should take care not to be too optimistic.
You're right. It's the barest sliver of a chance. But if there's even the slightest hope it can work, I'm willing to stake everything I've got on it.
I know it's too early to let myself feel relieved, but I just can't seem to help it. Just hearing there's the slightest chance, even though I know the world's still in great peril. It's selfish of me, I know, but still.
No, it isn't. You found hope to believe in. It'd be strange if you weren't over the moon about it.
Rinwell's right. We can rid you of your curse and still save the world at the same time.
Thank you. Naori entrusted us with the fate of all humanity. Now, it's up to us to prove that trust was well placed.
Starting with a little game called Hunt the Renis Alma.
Yeah, we've come all this way. Now we just need to search Lenegis and Rena until we find it.
Yeah, we can protect the world and save Shion at the same time.
I too shall lend my services. My knowledge of Renan lore is bound to be a useful asset.
And they say modesty is dead.
Miracles just seem to follow wherever you go, huh?
How do you know it's me they're following? We're all in this together, Shion. You included. Now let's get moving, shall we? Last I heard, we had an apocalypse to stop. Thank you, Naori. So Naori sealed away the power that made me. She stopped my rampage and saved. But then, that power she'd sealed away was. I'm so sorry, Shion.
You're wrong. What happened to you was because of the ceremony, and Naori's attempt to stop you paid a heavy price for it. The reason you lost your memory
is the reason for your
the thorns.
It all leads back to them. But once they're gone...
When my thorns are gone, I never dared to dream that such a thing could be... No. The truth is, I think maybe I've always been about a life without the touch of my family, or holding hands with Rinwell, or giving Law a deserved smack, embracing all the normal things. I always wished I could experience them for myself. And finally, is it really okay for me? I'm so scared. What if it doesn't work out in the end, and...
That's not going to happen. I'm here to make sure. Forget fate or destiny or anything else. We're going to live a normal life. There are a lot of things you...
Yeah, it's such a I know that we've still got... And it's for my sake.
You're worth fighting.
I believe you.
Good. I'll keep on fighting. For as long as it takes, until our future is finally in our hands.
Sounds like this Naori chick had quite the big heart.
Her position demanded nothing less. From the sound of things, she didn't
Yeah. It was Naori who first showed me that such a thing was even possible.
Not only that, but she willingly stayed behind on Lenegis for the sake of her people. It sounds like she would.
It's as if walls meant nothing to her. The ones separating the Renans from the Danans, or herself from others. She had no...
Which basically meant that she never had anything to break down in the first place, huh?
You inherited that legacy.
Don't I know it?
She's kind of like a lodestar guiding our way.
That's quite some door, all right. This might...
We'll find the Renis Alma and the red...
After everything we've been through to get here, they damn well...
We'll probably be needing you to open this one for us, Sovereign.
Go for it, Alphen.
This is it, guys. Time to see what secrets are in store.
We're a long way from the residential quarters now.
Yeah, you're right. Actually...
Except the Danan astral energy feels...
In a portion of the city...
Maybe he just has...
This place looks like it has been here for quite some time now. If its design were... Still, this isn't the sort...
Hold up, decadent?
When a preference is indulged to its extreme, it descends into kitsch, eccentricity for the sake of it.
That depends. Does it involve...
The void that art fills isn't the stomach. It's the soul.
In that case, I'll let you know the next time my soul starts to run.
Now all we need is something to fill up the void inside your head.
Shut up!
Volron! He really was still alive.
And there's the Renis Alma. Then, is this another spirit channeling ceremony?
Wait, though. Something doesn't seem right here.
Once more, the powers must be united. Born from the fires of chaos, the world does seek its rightful state. All must be sacrificed in the heart of Rena, at the shrine of the true sovereign.
What has happened to him? He's lost himself, reduced to a mere cog in a machine.
Hey, look! Over there!
Isn't that the Maiden's crest?
Can it be that this entire chamber is meant to act as a substitute for the Maiden?
It looks like it's still running, but... are we already too late to stop the ceremony?
If that's what caused Lenegis' transformation, then the purpose of the ceremony must have been to drain all the astral energy out of Dana.
But for what purpose? What could possibly need astral energy on that sort of scale?
I don't know. But whatever it is, I'll bet it's connected to those visions of oblivion. Regardless, we cannot stand by and let them steal Dana's energy. That said, we should retrieve the Renis Alma. Because right now, we need that most of all.
He's not gonna lunge at us out of nowhere, right?
Not the time, Law.
Alphen, look!
The Red Woman! So we finally found you. I have a lot of questions for you.
Wait!
What?
They all have the same face? How is that even possible? What is this?
Who the hell are they?
It can't be. Are they even people?
It's hard to know for sure, but I think they're the true rulers of Rena.
They're not feeling particularly talkative.
It's no use, Alphen. If we don't fight, we may as well be sitting ducks here.
Good point. Let's stop them before this gets out of hand.
Razor Cycle! Excited! I'm moving it!
Severing wind!
Raging
Feeling gale! First strike! Sword Rain Alpha!
You require a
Sword Rain Alpha!
Lightning!
Sword Rain Alpha! Dragon Form! Inspiration!
Darkest skies!
Sword Rain Alpha! Severing wind!
I could do this all
Sword
day!
Rain Alpha! Stardust!
More for
You're on! Watch it! Sword Rain Alpha! Coming through! Ha! Now! Scarlet Inferno!
Here's a healing
Come
heart!
now!
I can do this all day!
Here I come!
Water! Hear my
Sword
call!
Rain Alpha!
Darkest skies! I call
You have the
Blue
flame
Sea!
inside me
Here's
yearns to be let down!
Freeze Lancer!
You picked the wrong fight!
Here's a healing heart! Seal! Here, I'll be saving this way! Light astral energy! More where that came from! Searing flame! Reload!
This should do it!
Holy Land! Hurricane!
Try
Earth
harder!
malevolence! Healing and waterfall!
I could do
Here I
this all
go!
This
day!
one's mine!
No escape!
Lightning
this.
Lord! Lightning!
Blending blast!
I'm out of ammo!
There!
Healing circle! In here! I'm all
I'm not
done!
done!
Annihilation!
I owe you one!
Raging storm! More with
Sword Rain Alpha! Sonic Blast! Severing wind!
Light astral rage!
Searing gale!
Lost in pain.
Spread! Sever!
I'm not done! It's time! Sword Rain Alpha!
Alpha! Eat this! Here I come!
Healing circle!
Sword Rain Alpha!
No further!
Celestial
I'm
Banner!
just getting started! Wind!
Lightning
Dragon Force!
Thunderblade!
Sword Rain Alpha!
Blah blah blah! Here! Holy Land!
Severing Wind! You're finished! Sword Rain Alpha!
I'm all stopped up!
See what happened there is you crossed me. Shouldn't have done that.
Poodle.
Oh, you are gonna pay for that!
I'll bring you back from
Wind!
death to
Super
this!
Swallow Dash! Searing Gale!
Resuscitation!
Burn it out! Inferno Punch!
Still got some fight left in me.
It's Dragon Scout! Inferno Punch!
No further!
Sword Rain Alpha! I'll tear you apart! Pierce through! Sonic Thrust! Giant Devastation!
Glacial Steel! Here's the evil!
Sword Rain Alpha! See what I can do!
Searing Flame! Reload! Here, let me
Take
know!
this! Sword Rain Alpha!
Far enough! Here's the
First time!
I never miss!
Sword Rain Alpha!
I've let you all down.
You'll pay for that! Burn!
Healing
Try
circle!
hard if not can!
Illuminate the
I'll
sky!
bring you back
from death to
Sword
this!
Rain Alpha!
Holy Land!
Take this!
Resuscitation!
Take this!
Will this help?
Can't get out of this!
I owe you one!
Here my magic is out! Here! I'll be leading this one! The magic is out!
You're mine! No escape!
No more playing nice! Radiant light!
I'm not done!
Magic is out!
Dragon War! Sword Rain Alpha!
Talon sword!
Wind!
Ready to go!
No escape!
It's time to finish this! Die! Consuming wildfire! Will this help?
I'm not done!
Far enough! Raging storm! Healing circle!
You're mine! Sword Rain Alpha! Try harder! Mine! Take this! Severing Wind! Mirage! No escape! Eat this! Sword Rain Alpha! Dragon Force!
Bring you down!
Sword Rain Alpha! I'm not done! Mirage! You're mine! Sword Rain Alpha!
Annihilation!
Sonic Thrust! Severing Wind! Here I come! Here I come! Stay away from my friend!
I'll bring you back from death to
Watch
this! Resuscitation!
Wind!
Will this help?
Leave the charges to me! Super Swallow Dash!
So fine not too long ago. Can't get out of this!
Searing Flame!
Resurrection! Sword Rain Alpha! Sword Rain Alpha! This one's all mine! Burn!
Here goes Annihilation!
Here I come!
Searing Flame!
Sword Rain Alpha!
Dance in the wind! Take here! Super
Pierce through!
Oh, magic everywhere! In here! Annihilation! I never miss! I'll be saving this one!
I'm not done!
Radiant hit!
Talon Sword!
Raging storm!
Wind! I'm not done!
Now through me! Flame of fury!
Armor won't save you! Here I come! Severing Wind! Jump to the top!
Thunderblade! Illuminate the sun!
Take this!
Holy Glimmer!
You picked the wrong fight! I really owe you one. I can't move!
Don't leave!
Swallow Dance!
Lunar corruption! Lunar blast! You have Searing flame! Dance in the wind! In here!
No further!
I'll heal you all! I'll be saving this one! Harsh! Blah blah blah! That's it! Freeze Lancer! Now for something!
Take this!
Dance in the wind!
You're mine!
More
You're mine!
I'll heal you all!
Wind! Do it! Look sharp! Lightning Tiger Blade!
Here, let me help! Made one! Come there! Heal it!
Surrender! Fighting is useless now!
Do you think it's really over?
Astral energy. Watch out! They've got something up their sleeve!
What?
It's self-destructed?
Alvin!
I'm okay. Just a little roughed up.
You had me worried there.
Who said you could touch that?
Damn it! He's awake!
I should have thought as much.
So you know this place?
Naturally, it was built for me, after all. We'll save that for another time. More pressing is how I'm going to tear you apart.
Even after all this time, you still insist on hating me?
You cut me down. Sovereign or not, you will pay for that.
You're obviously bluffing. You can't even move right now.
Really, is that what you think? Did you really think that such a petty device could hold me?
Are you going to claim it's because you're a ruler? Be it sovereigns or lords. In the end, they're all titles given by someone else.
Plus, what kind of ruler would spend all his time chasing Alf, who happens to be another sovereign?
Idle prattle. I proved my worth and the Sovereign's powers were granted to me.
Were they really? We already know the title of Sovereign doesn't denote royalty. It is but an overblown codename for those with a designated part to play in these proceedings. You mentioned before that you were not the only one stolen from Dana, correct?
Yeah. There were countless. And every one of them besides me died.
All of those failed experiments, and they still kept going back to Dana. There must have been some vital reason their subject had to specifically be a Danan. Then there were the records we found in the library, for you and Volron. They were logged 300 years apart, and yet the data they took from you was exactly the same. Which leads us to a single conclusion.
Then you mean Boran was kidnapped just like Alphen? But then he became a
slave from Dana. Just like us. Isn't that right, Volron?
So he posed as a Renin and caused all that suffering to his own people?
How could you? If you knew the pain of being a slave, why would you inflict that upon others?
Renin and Danan are meaningless distinctions. Me and everyone else. That is all that matters. I will stand above all others and take what is rightfully mine, starting with this.
A red woman?
Another one?
Give your master back on Rena this message. No one makes a fool of me. Let them know I'll make them suffer.
Don't do it!
Serenus Alva!
It's too late! You can't stay here!
We need to go! Alvin!
to run.
Let's go.
Never forget, I am the one who devours everything. Who answers to neither spirit nor man. My word is law. I am.
Are you two okay?
Yeah. We'll be fine.
Is Volron... have we finally seen the last of him?
We can but hope.
Those red women. What the heck was their deal?
Could they be the ones behind all this? The same ones who put those soldiers and Faria in a trance?
What? Those brainless things? Either way, they've done a runner with the Renaissance. Damn it, that's the second time now!
Whatever's stolen from us, we'll steal it back. The future's ours to protect. And right now those things are what's standing in our way. We can head them off at Rena.
Did you say Rena?
Volron mentioned a master of theirs holed up in the motherland somewhere.
If that monstrous form's their true identity, I shudder to think who they take orders from.
Yeah. There's a good chance it's not human. That's for sure.
So this thing over on Rena, that's what's really behind all this, huh?
They have the Renaissance in their grasp already, so it's unlikely they'll have cause to return to Dana. I agree that Rena's our best shot.
Then we're agreed. Let's head back to the starship.
But seriously, I was not expecting Volron to actually be here.
He seemed to care not one whit about Renans or Danans.
Yeah, and not in a...
I didn't see that coming about Volron. As for those red women,
Tell me about it. One minute they look perfectly human.
They definitely weren't Renan or Danan. I'm not even sure language would get...
So what were they then?
Is the most terrifying thing.
How about you, Shion? Dohalim?
No, never. However...
I had just so much I wanted to ask them.
unfortunately, they blew themselves up before we got the chance.
Both sound plausible to my ears.
Yeah, they did. And the
A showdown between blade and fist.
Now you are!
Watch and This one's mine.
I'll crush you! Lightning reflexes! Tenebrous claw!
Lunar corruption!
No escape! Sword Rain Alpha! Sonic Drive!
Take this!
Take this!
Lunar corruption!
Now I'm in the groove!
The flame inside me! You're free!
Raging cascade!
Sonic Thrust! Eternal
Lunar
Cascade!
corruption!
You're mine!
Blast!
Not today!
Watch and lightning
Here I come!
annihilation!
Sword Rain Alpha!
Here's a do it!
Look sharp! Lightning Tiger Blade!
Let me help.
Not a
Stars of
chance.
light.
You're
Raise
mine!
your
Mirage! Win!
Gemini now! Meteor!
We managed to pull through.
Get lost!
Take this!
Can't get out of this!
Radiant pierce!
No escape! Try this!
Glimmer
Rending Flash! Severing Wind!
It's time!
I never miss!
Easy and snaring to me. Yeah! And pummeling to me!
I owe you one! The flame inside me! Yours to be
I
let
can
free!
carve all finish
Take
you
this!
here and now!
Ignite! Storm! Here I come! Sword Rain Alpha! Destroy! Commander of Heaven!
Phoenix Cyclone!
Take this!
These fists have got your name on them! Far enough!
Sleep now!
Here I come!
Mega Ray!
Sword Rain Alpha!
Annihilation! Lightning! Downfall!
Pierce through!
I'm on it! The calendar! I'll crush you! Lightning reflexes! Tenebrous claw!
Hey, I'm pretty lucky. No choice.
you all.
You're mine. My turn.
Oh, Violet
Brilliant. I owe you one. You're mine.
As if the normal creepy crawlies aren't disgusting enough.
I'll run you through!
I'm not done.
Take that!
You're mine.
In here!
Sword Rain Alpha.
Go away!
The flame inside me. Yours to be let free. Eat dirt.
I'm on it!
You're mine. Sword Rain Alpha.
I'm on a roll now!
Sleep now!
Stardust.
I'll be ready!
Mirage. Sword Rain Alpha. Stardust.
I'm on it!
This one keeps charging us.
That's what my shield's for.
Get behind me!
Got it. I'll leave it to you.
Water! Hear my call!
Win. You're mine. The flame inside me. Yours to be let free. You're mine. Not today. Sword Rain Alpha.
Roll now!
Sonic Thrust.
I'll crush you! Lightning reflexes! Tenebrous claw!
Take this. Sword Rain
Now
Alpha.
you see what I can do! Now I'm in the groove!
Try harder. Take this.
Here I go!
Severing Wind. Take this.
Dance!
Radiant
Severing Wind.
Meteor storm!
Soaring Light Clear. Tear.
Searing flame! Lightning!
You're mine.
Radiant one's mine!
Eat this! You're mine! Sword Rain Alpha!
Lunar corruption now!
I'll tear you apart! Blended Blast! I'm not done!
Now I'm real mad!
Win! Hurricane Thrust! This super forward! I'm not done!
Can't get out of this!
Sleep now!
Take this!
Roll now!
I'll crush you!
Lightning reflexes! Tenebrous claw!
Do it! Remote!
Astral energy!
Say no more.
They really made us work for that one.
Gone!
Super Searing
Freaking does it!
Thunder Field!
Strike!
Raging Cascade!
Rising Wyvern! Strike!
Waterfall!
Point Blast!
I'll be saving this
Dust to dust! Damn it! Too fast!
Stand back. I'll trip it up.
Hurricane Thrust! Point Blast! Eat this!
Here's evil!
Take this!
Take this! That'll bring you down!
Rolling snap!
Win!
Eat this!
Mirage! I'm not done!
Not in your dreams!
Sword Rain Alpha!
Inferno
Severing
Punch!
Wind!
In a vine!
Here I come! Sword Rain Alpha!
Glacial
Trigger!
Speed! Astral energy!
Say no more.
Now! You're mine! Severing Wind! Point Blast! It's on! Mirage! Not a chance!
Ready
Chill!
This ends now!
Consider yourself finished.
I've been doing really great lately.
What the? When did it get pitch dark all of a sudden?
The lights are all out. Think it has something to do with the explosion back in the Forbidden Zone? Doe?
You two.
Faria, Avakir. Thank goodness you're safe.
Avakir filled me in about everything. About how I ambushed you all.
She doesn't remember a thing, so she really was being controlled.
He told me about Tarnigan, too. Is it true?
What difference does it make? What's done is done.
Stop casting me off, just for once!
Faria, not now. It can wait. Dohalim, Lenegis is in grave peril.
So I can see.
It's the city's core reactor. It's damaged. Some of the basic systems we've managed to keep online, but complete restoration's still a way off.
You're an elite technician, though. You can fix it, right?
If so, then what's the problem?
Panic's begun to set in among the citizens. Until now, whenever something like this happened, the Sovereign would issue a decree. But this time, not so much as a peep. Any longer, and we run the risk of riots breaking out before we can get things back up and running.
Forget the Sovereign. I doubt you'll be hearing from him anytime soon.
What's that supposed to mean? Do you know something I don't?
Suffice it to say, the Sovereign isn't the kind of ruler we thought he was. That is, if he ever even existed, which is looking doubtful at this stage.
Are you out of your mind? Why, if people knew that a lord such as yourself was whispering such blasphemy, they'd...
There's no time to explain now. It sounds like we need to find a way to keep Lenegis from spiraling out of control.
We need to stop that riot.
But how do we do that?
Riots feed on discontent and unrest, right? So if we want to keep the peace, we just need to put people's minds at ease.
At ease? Like by letting them hear directly from someone they trust. That's it. Who's the highest-ranking person in Lenegis right now?
Lenegis wouldn't have a next in line. After all, you said the Sovereign rules over everyone directly, right?
Correct. The closest thing to an authority figure would be a lord. And the only one left is... Ah. Very well then. Avakir, you mentioned a few facilities were still online. Which ones?
Why hasn't the Sovereign said anything?
Please, won't somebody explain what's going on?
Is it over? What's going to happen to all of us?
Heed me now, fellow Renans of Lenegis. It is I, Lord Dohalim Ilkaris of Eldaman and Sia.
Look, up there! It's Lord Dohalim!
Hold on! He should be in the crown contest! Shouldn't he? Why isn't the Sovereign talking to us?
The Sovereign is seeing to other matters right now. In my capacity as Lord, I speak to you in his stead. You're afraid. As people so often are when faced with the unknown. I hope you'll allow me to put your fears to rest. The city's core reactor has experienced a malfunction. However, we have our top engineers attending to the matter, and things will soon be back to normal. I know that you feel abandoned, perhaps more scared and alone than ever before. But I ask you all to keep one thing in mind. You are Lenegis, not the Lords and Sovereign. The solidarity of its citizens is the mortar that holds it together. If we don't allow ourselves to be distracted by our differences, if we put our hearts and minds together and stand as one, I am confident we will find new hope. I would be honored to stand with you. Not as a person of loftier rank, but as another human being among men. I hope that you'll lend me your strength, for if we can persevere as one, I know a bright tomorrow awaits.
Your speech seems to have done the trick. Looks like the city won't be descending into chaos after all.
I only pray the relief will tide the city over for the time being.
What you said earlier, about the Sovereign possibly not even existing, was it true?
It's still too premature to say with any certainty, but I believe so. This whole time, this world we've been fed was a lie, built on nothing but falsehoods.
But it can't all have been...
I can believe it. After everything I saw in the Forbidden Zone, what they did to Faria, it's the only explanation that makes sense.
But what about hierarchy, Avakir? Authority? The very foundations of Renan society? How can we live without someone to guide us?
I'd say we found someone capable of doing just that, wouldn't you?
You? You can't be serious.
I have business I must take care of first. But once everything is over, I shall return. But not as your sovereign, nor as a leader the likes of which the people here are used to, I think.
But how else do you propose to rule?
I'm not sure yet. All I have is a feeling that here in Lenegis, a new dawn is on the verge of breaking. One in which people won't be judged by birthright or on the power of their astral arts, but on other things. More important things. Things like... oh, I don't know. Musical talent, for example.
When I bumped into you after all those years, I said you were no different. But I was wrong. Truth is, you were always different. I feel like maybe now I can finally begin to accept Tarnigan's death. To see a future.
You go finish whatever it is you've got to do. I'll hold down the fort here in Lenegis till you get back.
Thank you.
I guess you're not going to make it to Menancia for the foreseeable future, huh?
Indeed. Forgive me.
The people of Elda Menancia can look after themselves just fine. It's the ones here on Lenegis who need someone to guide them. Besides, with you leading the people here, it'll help spread the idea of coexistence beyond Menancia's borders that much faster.
Sounds like you're in it for the long haul.
How could I not be, after the second chance that I've been granted? From this day forth, I shall dedicate myself to the future inhabitants of this world. Though the memories of the departed shall remain forever in my heart.
Remember, you're going to be leading the people here, not ruling them.
True enough. Whatever would I do without you, Kisara?
With or without her, I suspect you're gonna have your hands full when the time comes. We should be heading back to the ship. Business on Rena awaits. Looks like the people of Lenegis can...
In one sense, when all is said and done, perhaps...
You, a Renan lord.
I was complicit in the Renan system, and when I realized the severity... A lord. And yet...
I think I can relate. I couldn't stand watching the ability to think for your... Zephyr taught me how to fight. But in
even if it means stumbling along the way. Or, to put it another... This Zephyr character sounds like he was a wise man indeed.
There's just... so much I wish I could ask him. Especially now.
How long have you known?
Known what?
About the darkness I carry inside me. You seem to have been...
Why ask me now? But... yes, I have.
So basically since the very start of our journey, then.
Leave the past where it belongs. We have no need for it now. You're forging ahead. If my brother could see you...
Not as proud as he would be of his sister.
Well then, just...
Kisara? Anyone at home in there? Among other things. To be entirely honest, I couldn't...
You were thinking about Dohalim, weren't you?
I was just thinking how good it is to see him moving forward. It was always so infuriating, knowing how capable he could be if he just... But now, he's finally beginning to spread his...
So, then...
Oh, I don't know if I'd say sad. There's a bittersweetness to it, I guess. It probably sounds weird, doesn't it? I have this massive worry off my mind.
Must be that maternal instinct of...
Rinwell's right. You're like a mother bird, finally letting go as her child...
A pretty big child.
That's one way to look at it. I wouldn't like to see Dohalim's face if he heard you say it. All this has made me realize I can't allow myself to become a... If Dohalim can forge his own path ahead, then I can too.
What do you say we check back in on the ranch?
Have you guys checked your equipment lately?
thought we'd find answers on Lenegis, but we just ended up finding more questions.
You can say that again. And now we have more problems to fix, too. Like figuring out how to reform Lenegis.
That can wait for now. We've got more than enough on our plates to deal with as it is. Like figuring out who's really running the show on Rena.
Yeah. Which is why we're going to the Renan homeworld.
All the answers we've been looking for are on that planet. The person responsible for all this. The Red Woman and the Renaissance. The answers have to be there. Are we prepared to finally find them?
So, what do we do first when we get there?
We know nothing about the Renan homeworld or what we might face once we arrive. We should get a feel for how things are on the ground before we take any serious steps.
It's also entirely possible that the first thing we're going to face is an attack.
If we come across a capital, we should... What? Damn! The hell just happened?
Our course has been altered. The coordinates are pointing to a different destination.
What's that?
The ship's controls aren't accepting my commands. The engine is being shut down.
That's bad, right?
Quite bad. We've lost control of the ship.
Is all of this the Red Women's doing?
Are they trying to finish us off before we can land?
Everyone! Look there!
A flower blooming out of Rena?
But that flower looks like it's absorbing all of Dana's energy.
And it appears Lenegis is serving as a conduit for that energy to reach here. Could that have been its true purpose all along?
If that's true, do you think the people back on Lenegis are all right?
We can only pray that they are.
Damn it! Haven't they taken enough already? When is this going to end?
Flower of Oblivion.
With everything that's happening, we need to get back to Lenegis. Is the ship still offline?
Unfortunately, yes. Even more so than when it lay dormant.
Can you fix it?
Starships are extremely complex machines. One wrong move while we're out here in space could very well cost us our lives.
So what? We're just stuck inside here, floating around? For how long?
I don't believe this. We've made it all this way, and now we're stuck here? We're watching Dana die before our eyes, and we have no choice but to sit here and starve to death?
Law, calm down! You're not the only one who's worried here.
Right. Sorry.
It's still too early to give up. There has to be a way to get out of this.
Alphen.
Now what?
The starship, it's back online?
No, this is different. Something is pulling our ship in towards it.
We managed to get moving, but where are we?
It looks like Lenegis in here.
Do you think we might run into more remnants here? Or those red women?
Perhaps. Someone brought us here. The question is, who?
We haven't been ambushed, so that probably means they aren't hostile. Still, why would anyone want to bring us here?
Hey, Shion!
If they wanted to attack us, they could have done so while we were back on the starship. We should see where this path takes us.
What the? Are you at?
Oh, come on. How am I supposed—
It's called experiencing feelings appropriate to the situation.
Yeah, but see—
Oh.
Staying alert is important, but too much caution can cloud your judgment.
Still can't get over what—
Yeah.
I've only ever— Still, though, I never would have imagined Rena actually looked like that.
Beats me. I have absolutely no—
Rena and Dana. We were taught that both, but to think that they lied to us not only about the Sovereign and the Crown contest.
Dohalim.
Okay, who's— That beam of light joining Dana and Rena. It was the Renan side that it first came from, right?
That's what it looked like. And then the Danon side—
Perhaps it was some kind of directive from the Renan homeworld? To reawaken the wedge and—
Which would mean that whoever's behind all this is on Rena after all. But what are they after?
Try to stay calm. What is it?
No, it's just— so much for me.
You made it this far. Did you notice something? You change it. That's all anyone can do.
This place looks a lot like that room we saw back in the Forbidden Zone.
Huh? What's that? It's one of those!
A red woman in disguise. Or is this their true form?
So it was a trap?
It doesn't look like it can move. Tell me, are you the one who brought us here?
That is correct. It is unusual for me to have unexpected guests these days.
It can talk!
What are you?
Hevrect 35.
Hevrect 35. Is that your name?
Correct.
What is this place? No, wait, before that, just what exactly are you? Are you somehow associated with the Red Women?
Before I answer, I have a question for you. How did you all arrive in this sector?
We did not come to this place by choice. Our ship was brought here against our will, by a group of red women who can shift into the same form as you.
In that case, we can assume my brethren who serve the Great Spirit have deemed you all to be a threat most grave.
What do you mean, serve? Are you saying there really is someone more powerful than the Red Women, pulling their strings?
What did you do to us?
I examined your bodies. You have not been harmed in any way. Identifiers detected. The Sovereign and Maiden are among you. However, you aren't under its control. I see why they viewed you as a danger now.
Oh goody, more riddles.
Do you think we can trust this thing?
Like it or not, it may be our best chance at a ticket out of here. Let's at least hear it out.
I shall now answer your questions. We are Helganquil. The Red Women you encountered previously are a form of disguise we employ from time to time, but not our true form.
Helganquil?
You are on Date Phasal, a celestial base which drifted here by accident. The will of Rena's Great Spirit no longer reaches us here. Since my sudden separation from the Great Spirit's influence, I have used any and all means to extend my lifespan. As I have done so, I have also set out to monitor and research Rena and Dana from this position.
A question. What is this Great Spirit of which you speak? Is it something that rules over your kind?
Correct. The Great Astral Spirit is a large mass of astral energy that fills all of Rena, one with its own will, a voice we cannot refuse.
A voice? Just like Dana.
The voice of the Great Spirit speaks to our hearts directly, and we have served it without question throughout the ages.
Does that mean it was controlling your minds? Wait a second. Could this Great Spirit be the true Sovereign of Rena?
The true ruler of Rena. It could be the same thing that's controlling Volron.
Wait, back up. You're telling us this Great Spirit of yours is the one that ordered you things to harvest the astral energy from Dana? I'm not sure I believe that.
Why not? We've already made contact with the will of Dana back in the Wedge, and in the Forbidden Zone on Lenegus. If Dana has a will of its own, I don't see why Rena wouldn't.
Maybe not, but think about what you're saying. If Dana has a will like Rena, then that would mean that we've been controlled by the voice of Dana this whole time, just like these things.
Dana's will hasn't been forcing us to do anything.
Yeah, but...
Let's assume that what Hevrect 35 claims is true, and that we are indeed cut off from both planets. Even if we had previously been under the control of Dana's will, we would have noticed now that we are disconnected.
Your fear is not based in logic. The voice of Dana is much smaller and quieter compared to that of Rena's great spirit. Rena's astral energy is amassed at its center, whereas Dana's is shared among all its constituents. So thinly is that energy spread that it cannot coalesce and formulate a will. Our findings here indicate as much.
Which explains why we felt its will where we did. The Wedge and Lenegis are where so much of that energy had been accumulated.
The Great Spirit's desire is to consume all astral energy. And the pursuit of that desire is why you see Rena in its current state. As a result, it has turned its attention toward Dana. Is that why the crown contest is necessary? So that the Great Spirit can feed off of Dana?
Indeed. And it was to that end that we Helganquil devised the crown contest.
Had the initial spirit channeling from 300 years ago succeeded, all of Dana's astral energy would have been seized. But the ceremony failed. Lenegis was severely damaged, and you lost both the Sovereign and the Renasalma.
Correct. A change in plan was required to ensure the spirit channeling's success. However, recreating the Renis Alma required a vast amount of energy.
That is why we turned to Dana.
So that was the real purpose behind the crown contest. An efficient means to harvest the necessary energy from Dana.
This is all happening because of me.
Nevertheless, you still haven't answered one of Alphen's original questions. Just why have you brought us here to your base, Hevrecht 35?
First, it was to confirm the identities of you, my unexpected visitors. Second, it was to ascertain whether you would be likely to accept my request.
A request? But what could someone like you want us to...
I wish for you all to slay the Great Spirit.
I'm sorry, did you just ask us to kill your master?
I did. It is in your best interest that you do so, I might add.
What makes you say that?
Lenegis has entered the final stage of the spirit channeling plan.
As we speak, Dana's energy is being harvested en masse and transmitted to Rena. If nothing is done about the Great Spirit, it will not be long before all is lost.
You're saying the destruction we saw earlier is just the beginning? That...
We won't let that happen.
Why do you want us to kill the Great Spirit so badly? Is it to save our world? To free you, Helganquil, from under its control? Why?
No. My primary concern is validating our findings and analysis, which have taken many years to realize. As such, it is my desire to see how your actions impact and change these systems. However, I will not deny that vengeance also plays a part. Vengeance? For what?
In spite of our long service to the Great Spirit, our species is on the brink of extinction.
You mean... you're dying?
At this stage, it would be wise for you to talk with the others. Ask them what you need to know. Once you have your answer, return to me. If you agree to help, I shall fix your ship.
Others? Just how many of you are there?
I am the only Helganquil who inhabits Dake Faisal.
Hey! Hey!
It's no use. I think it's done talking to us. Let's take a look around.
You can't seriously be buying anything that creature told.
To be honest, the conversation went on for so long, I'm not sure I understood all of it.
At the very least, everything it said about the Renan Great Spirit adds up. At the end of the day, this whole chain of events... That being said, had we not previously encountered the will of Dana, I suspect I would find its story much more difficult to believe.
The spirit of Rena wants to see Dana completely destroyed.
But why? Astral energy is supposed to be a force that...
It doesn't matter. I don't care if we're up against an entire world or what its game is. We're not going to let...
Right.
There is one other thing that concerns me. How the Great Spirit, the Helganquil, and the Crown Contest are all part of a centuries-long plan is clear enough. But what about the Renans?
Now that you mention it, and all that talk, Hevric 35 never even brought up the Renans once. And as for the Helganquil, we never did find out just what they are either.
Maybe it had a reason for keeping its silence. Or perhaps there's even more going on. Let's find out. Who are they?
What is...
Oh, my apologies. It's just been so long since I've seen any humans from the outside.
Are you a Renan?
Oh. The Overseer told us to answer any questions you might have. Whatever you want to know, we'll tell you. But be quick. Our subjects are undergoing a dramatic...
What a weird guy.
He must have meant Hevric 35 when he meant...
And what was that about subjects? You don't think he meant Dana and Rena, do you?
There isn't anyone else we can talk to. I guess we should ask around here. Do you know anything about a spirit?
If you mean the first plan from 300 years ago, then yeah.
Yes. It was to use Lenegis to siphon off Dana's astral...
Exactly. However, there were two problems we had to consider. First was how to collect and send such a large... Second, we had to figure out how to convert Dana's energy so it would...
I take it the solutions to those problems were to use the wedge for the collection, and then the Sovereign and Maiden to convert the...
We have a winner! However, the first plan failed when the Sovereign was overwhelmed and became frenzied. The reason for that is because the Maiden lost control. I'm told he slaughtered many Renans and Helganquil. For the next plan, we tried to recreate the Renis Alma, but we didn't have nearly enough of the other non-dark astral... To amend that, we set our sights on Dana, and implemented a system whereby we could extract...
And the Crown Contest...
Correct. Since the Maiden had been the failing point in the previous plan, it was decided to replace her role with machinery to avoid a new Sovereign had to be made. It was such tremendously difficult work, its success was dubious. But from the look of things... it would appear...
So that's what the purpose of that room we found in the Forbidden Zone was.
What about the flower that sprouted from Rena?
Flower? Oh, that thing. That's the physical As I'm sure you've noticed, it's quite a lot of energy. At this point, it's likely that it's become physically integrated with Rena's...
Hevric 35 mentioned that the spirit channeling plan is entering its final...
It is. I never thought I would live to see the day with my own eyes. Are we done talking now? If it's all the same to you, I'd really rather not miss him.
He talks like the potential end of the world is just another day.
You've got to remember that these guys have been living alone up here for a long time.
Have you guys lived up here in Dag Faisal with Hevrek 35 for a long time?
Yes. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. We regularly go into stasis, so our sense of time has gotten...
Why are you all even here?
Originally, this station was where we worked to perform maintenance on Lenegis from the outside.
We heard that the facility ended up in its current location due to an...
Oh, it was terrible. Apparently there was some kind of accident, and when help never arrived, they presumed the entire facility...
And you've been working for Hevrek 30...
Well, at first we thought that there was nobody else inside the facility, but then it turned out
What do you mean?
The Helganquil have the technology to cloak themselves around us Renans. As long as they don't do anything obvious, a Renan won't see one, even if it's right in front.
Which would explain why Shion and I failed to notice the Red Women previously. Do they employ an astral art of some...
I haven't been able to scientifically confirm it for myself, but from what I understand, in addition, they also used hypnosis devices and information control. It's a pretty sophisticated operation, especially since I have to imagine that's how Lenegis is still...
But aren't the Helganquil themselves controlled by the Great Spirit? If so, why aren't Renans affected by it in this...
The Great Spirit's mind control only works on Helganquil, so they had to employ other means to manipulate us.
You act like this didn't affect you personally. If I was you, I'd be mad as hell.
I mean, sure, I was surprised when I first found out about it, but it happened...
Hevrek 35 has clearly ceased concealing itself, though. Why is that?
Who can say? My guess is it just got bored, or maybe even a little lonely.
Don't you want to go back home to Rena or Lenegis? Our ship is...
No way. If we went back after knowing the truth, they'd either just brainwash us or hurt. After all this time, there's nothing to be gained from going back. We've all agreed it'd be best to simply stay here. Things are going just fine with the Overseer. Not that it'll be around much longer. It can't That said, I'm sure it's pleased to see the final stage of the plan before it...
Thank you for answering our question. Can we talk to you for a few...
Sure. It's going to be a while before the two planets undergo their next shift. So
Please, tell us what you know about the...
You mean the Overseer species? I can't say I know much about them.
Well, for starters, where'd they...
Where else? From Rena, obviously.
From Rena? Wait, are you telling us those things live right alongside...
Of course not. There's really no such thing as Renans in the first place.
Excuse me?
Oh, I thought the Overseer...
Apparently not.
Please, tell us...
Well, in a nutshell, the Renans were originally created from Danans by the Helganquil.
But if that's true, then that would mean there aren't any people on Rena.
There aren't. But there are Helganquil. That's what the name literally means in their language. People of Rena.
But what need could they possibly have to create a whole new race of people?
It was a way to bolster their dwindling workforce. I trust you're aware that the Helganquil are on the verge of... In essence, we were created to carry on their work for the Great Spirit after they all die. They gathered Danans who had an affinity for astral arts and proceeded from there. That's why we, as their descendants, can all cast arts, albeit to varying degrees.
Let me get this straight. Are you saying Renans were originally created from Danans that the Helganquil kidnapped?
Wait, that explains why almost nobody can use Astro Arts on Dana now.
Helganquil technology is truly amazing. The way they alter their bodies is far less invasive than your conventional surgery. They have these tiny machines that are practically invisible, which they insert into their bodies and...
Enough! You needn't tell us anymore.
How can you speak so calmly about all of this?
I guess I can see how, when viewed in a certain light, their ways may... But if you ask me, I think they ultimately did us a favor. They saved us from crawling the earth in ignorance. If it meant their hands had to get a little dirty in the process... Anyway, the Helganquil are the real Renans. Personally, I don't think it's such a big deal. They're also mostly the ones behind what you see going on between the two planets. I think that covers just about everything worth...
I see.
Does he really expect us to believe that Renans never truly existed? How absurd.
Just when I think we're getting to the bottom of it all, some new revelation smacks us in...
Then let's hope this is our last revelation for a while.
It feels like our whole world has been turned upside down. Is there anything we know that's still true at this point?
Seriously, I'm still trying to process the fact that we Renans were created by the Helganquil, let alone the Sovereign and
Let's take a moment to gather us. I know all of this is a lot to believe and take in, but I think it's fair to say that we found the answer.
Agreed. Though I'll admit that I never expected it to all boil down to Rena's great spirit being behind.
Everything that's happened, everything we've endured.
And to get that energy, the Great Spirit took. Then the Helganquil created the Renans, who went on to invade and rule over the Danans.
Plus, the reason the Great Spirit can't directly control the Renans as well is likely because they were originally Danans all along.
Either way, I think it's fair to say we've all had a lot to take in at once. Maybe too much. Why don't we all take some time to think things over?
That's a good idea. If the Renan Great Spirit really is behind all this, because it's not just Dana on the line, but Rena too. If we're going to do... So let's go ahead and break off for now. We aren't in any immediate danger, so we should be okay. You sure you don't want to be alone right now?
I could ask you the same question.
I figured I'd get all my thinking in while walking around and checking up on everybody.
I'll go along with you. I'm interested...
Sounds good.
Everyone's just gone their own way, huh?
Yeah, let's hit up each spot. Everything we thought we knew. It was all just a fabrication that the Red Women... No.
Right. Assuming we can believe anything that Hevrek 35 has told us that...
Well, if the names are anything to go by, it's possible the Helganquil could be behind the fruits of Helgen too.
But if Hevrek 35 was telling the truth, and this was all just one massive lie, does that mean everything we've done up until now has been pointless?
No, I don't think so. Or at least I hope not. I think it just means we've lost our foothold for now.
Really? Well then, if we've lost it, I guess we'll just have to find another. All of us together.
Make one, huh? I see. Right then. Count me in.
Oh, it's you two. Does he seem like he's doing any better now?
He who? Oh.
I know that we're all struggling to wrap our minds around it all, but he
What do you think about everything we've learned? About the Renans and the
On some level, I'm not even really sure what to think, to be honest. I mean, the Great Spirit is like a huge natural disaster, but with a mind and will. But if that thing's hellbent on trying to destroy our planet, then the only thing left for us to do is stop it. As for the Renans, I suppose my feelings on that are a bit...
How so?
coexistence between Danans and Renans, and in my case, I think that's partly because deep down, I was still on guard. So, to be told that they're like us.
You kept a pretty level head.
You mean about the Renans? At the end of the day, the Helgan Quill and the Great Spirit, but at the same time, I realize that not every Danan is necessarily—
I know you're already aware of this, but the list of grievances the Danans have against the Renans is long. And if people then find out that they're all actually one and the same, yeah, I don't think they're going—
Even just among the Danans, I'm sure there'll be some who emerge with power, and I think if we can find a way to get rid of that imbalance—
Well, first we can try to figure out—
Yeah. It'd be nice if one day people could learn to get past their hatred like—
It's no small task. We can't pretend like the past didn't happen.
Right. Everybody has their reasons for feeling the way that they do. But if we just keep yelling at each other about it, well, in a worst-case scenario, it might lead to even more people get—
And we all have to figure out how to meet half—
That's an interesting way of—
It's true. Everybody has their own— It won't be achieved through— But I think it's a good first step. And now, I think I see a way to move forward.
You both seem awfully calm.
Only because after everything we've seen, we don't have the energy to keep being shocked.
How are you holding up, Rinwell? That whole talk about the Renans looked like it shook you up a bit.
Yeah. I get this sinking feeling whenever I remember how Danan mages like my family were persecuted and died out. And now, I find— But I was thinking, if Renans end up living together with Danans again, then mages won't be such an unusual thing to see. I know it's not as simple as all. Danans probably won't be so quick to let their guards down. And there might be Renans who still act superior
It wouldn't surprise me. 300 years of bad—
Yeah. But even so, I was still able to change. And if So I was thinking maybe, I don't know, I could use my position as both a Danan and a mage to help bring both sides together.
Rinwell.
That great spirit worries. Dana's will feels so warm and inviting. So why is Rena's will trying to destroy—
Now that you mention it, Everett 35 and the other scientists here never really
Maybe. But regardless, at the end of the day—
We won't.
I still can't—
You're not the only one still trying.
Really? You've never struck—
Did you forget what happened back—
It was really that—
Yeah, it was. But thanks to Law and everybody else, I remembered that I still had things out there worth fighting for.
Man, I think you might be a better guy than me, Alphen. All I can remember thinking was, when's this guy gonna get his act together?
Law.
I was too worried about repeating the same mistakes I'd made back with my dad. That was no way to live. And I've tried to stay strong. But all this talk about other races and the world ending, if I can be honest with you guys, it's just all—
I know this is going to sound strange coming from me, but maybe the key is not to worry too much about the big stuff right now.
Oh?
I used to worry all the time about my thorns, for obvious reasons. And when I realized my visions pointed to a threat that was bigger than me. But that's when I finally got it. You guys were all there for me, to teach me what's really important.
In other words, if you let the big picture stuff get you all muddled up inside,
you'll— The thing that's most important. All I want to do is protect the people that really matter to me. To fight for them.
Not everyone is strong enough to fight.
Huh?
It's something your dad told me once when he was— Law. You know you're strong enough to fight, and you're strong enough to protect the people. Forget all the big stuff going on. Just don't lose sight of—
Yeah. It's like a big weight's been lifted. I'll fight to protect the people around me. Just like I always have.
I apologize for making you witness that.
You mean hearing the origins?
Indeed. It's shocking to have so many things I thought to be in doubt.
Even I'm still not sure everything we—
Let's not delude ourselves. If what we've heard is a lie, It's a rather elaborate one. I can only imagine that you must have been constantly feeling like this, ever since your memory returned, Alphen. And you as well, Shion.
That's just part of being alive.
Well, to say the least. But enough about me. I'm not concerned for myself.
When you say the other Renans, you mean the ones that are living...
Correct. Even if we stop the Great Spirit from annihilating Dana, our problems will still remain. Putting aside the untold state that Rena may be in, if we do not truly belong there, we will have to think long and hard about where it is that we wish...
So, I guess your only real choices at this point are to either stay on Lenegis, or come down to Dana, huh?
And at the same time, Danans are hardly likely to embrace Renans with open arms. If the issue is forced, there is, after all, 3 centuries worth of hatred, and the victims of our rule have absolutely every right to feel animosity.
I didn't expect the former Lord of Menancia to be...
Menancia's fate was a stroke of good luck. There had been backlash over how it had been ruled, and I was blessed to have sympathizers among my ranks.
But things can still change if you have the right people to help lead the way. Isn't that what you hope to achieve on—
Indeed. I have fully accepted the burden of that responsibility. In that regard, on that note, I have something of a...
Oh?
I wish for you to serve as a mediator, so that the Renans can live on Dana peaceably, as the one and only Blazing Sword. I suspect the Danans may listen to what you have to say when...
And I take it that you'll be the one to represent the Renans?
Yes. I realize that I'm asking quite a lot. However, the fact of the matter is that it will take time for Renans to re-enter Danan society without... Is it too much?
No, relax. You get so tense and
You're too kind. I can see you were raised well.
That's some high praise, Alphen.
Then I'll ask once again, this time just as friends.
You don't even need to ask.
Thank you, my friend.
Well, it sounds like everyone's learning.
What about you, Shion?
To be honest, I'm not really all that shocked, actually. I mean, I might right now, it's...
How do you mean?
Because for a really, really long time, all I ever thought about was how I was going to die. I thought I'd die alone. I would have never imagined that I'd be traveling with someone like you, fighting to save Rena and Dana. I mean, it's been going on for 300 years. It was Naori's hope that somehow, someone in the future would be able to stop it. Before it would, how it fell on us, of all people, to heed that.
I don't think Naori was hoping that we would just stop the world from getting... She considered me a Danan. As a real... I don't think she wanted the world to be saved, just so they could go back to hurting each other.
Huh?
When we were talking to Kisara earlier, about all that stuff, like... She said that the first step down that path was for each of us to put aside our own... That means forgiving other people. Even in a...
Forgiving. So it goes...
Yeah. I don't just mean forgiving things that happen. If we have any hope of moving on and building a better...
You know, you're right. People can hurt one another, without even meaning to. I know that better than most, thanks to these thorns.
It's not going to be easy, but if we can do it, I'm sure there'll come a time when... I'm there with you, Shion. I think that's the very least I can do to repay Naori.
Yeah. I want a future that she would feel proud to live in, and I'm going to fight for it.
Whoa there, Savior Girl. We're here to save you, too.
Yes, I know. Don't worry, I have...
Well, is everybody ready to...
I am. There's a lot to think about. I don't care who we're up against.
What are your thoughts, Alphen? I want to know what's...
Like Law said, if we have to fight the Great Spirit on... It's trying to rob us of our entire world. That alone is enough to make it our enemy. But it's not only that. One way or another, I think beating the Great Spirit is going to be tied to us saving Shion.
You're saying there's a chance?
You're referring to the vision of destruction we all saw in Lenegis?
Yeah. 3 centuries ago, the astral energy that appeared at the spirit channeling ceremony showed Naori that vision. And to hear Shion tell it, it's the same one that she sees from her own thorns as well.
Indeed. Shion's thorns are comprised of dark astral energy. The one type which we... And if Rena's great spirit is what's behind Dana's pending destruction, then...
Shion's thorns are the Great Spirit? It's not actually on Rena like we thought?
We don't know anything for certain. At the very least, though, I think it's possible her thorns are a part of the Great Spirit.
While the main body resides in...
Shion.
If these thorns really are a part of Rena's Great Spirit, I'm going to go over there and give it a piece of my mind and then some.
The question is, how do we confront it? Suffice it to say, that flower growing out of Rena is enormous. The Wedge and Lenegis were both hard enough for us to overcome in their own right. This is an altogether greater challenge for merely...
And we only know about the Thorns' connection thanks to Naori.
Hevric 35 has been observing the Great... It wouldn't ask us to fight it unless it has a plan of some sort. Our minds are made up. What?
So if the
Even with the Forbidden Zone in ruins and the Renis Alma stolen, Lenegis is functioning fine. If it...
First they lumber you with a position you never asked for, then you're discarded like you're nothing? Who the hell do they think they are?
More importantly, who do they think we are? We might not even factor into their list of...
I just hope everyone on...
Worst comes to worst, Lenegis is equipped with a large number of starships that people can escape in. As long as the whole satellite doesn't suddenly explode or something, they should be fine.
Wait, explode?
In any case, if we're truly going to make a difference, it's on Rena we're needed, not Lenegis.
Right.
Do you have your answer for me?
We want to ask something first. You're asking us to fight an entire planet. You must have something up your sleeve, or else you wouldn't put us up to it.
The great astral spirit is an immense being, but its actual will does not run throughout its entire... Rather, its will is derived from the core, which supports the rest of the body, and is where its strength is most densely concentrated. Therefore, if you destroy the core, the Great Spirit shall become unable to maintain sentience, and return to being ordinary astral...
And how are we supposed to destroy that core?
By using the Renis Alma. You will also need the assistance of both the Sovereign and the Maiden. They are our best tools for suppressing and controlling. Using their powers, the Maiden shall seal the great astral spirit within her body, and the Sovereign shall wield...
Hold on. That sounds a lot...
Yeah, killing herself to take out the Thorns with...
She was actually right.
By my calculations, your powers combined should be sufficient to destroy the great astral spirit, and disperse its energy widely enough to make it difficult to reform.
What will happen to the Maiden once we manage to beat the great astral spirit?
Any matter contained within the field of destruction shall be erased.
So it really will kill me.
This method is the most simple one available to destroy the Great Spirit. And
what are our other options?
There is little reason to consider alternative courses of action when the most clear...
You don't get it. I promised Shion that she wouldn't die. That we'd save the world without needing to sacrifice her. We didn't fight this whole time just to give up on her at the very end. If there's any other way to take out the Great...
This plan shall lead to the fewest loss...
That's...
It is vital that you proceed with this plan. 300 years ago, the Great Spirit descended upon Lenegis in an attempt to assume direct control of the spirit channeling ceremony. We have reason to believe the Great Spirit left part of itself behind, and that it now resides in the Maiden.
Which would make Alphen's earlier hypothesis correct.
That part inside the Maiden belongs to the core, and can be used by the great astral spirit to revive itself. So long as it remains, it will be all but impossible to fully eradicate the Great Spirit. That is why it is necessary for it to be vanquished only once it is whole. Without the Maiden's direct control over the Great Spirit, attacking it is futile and will only serve to strengthen it.
No.
Wait. Naori said that the Renis Alma can suppress the self-realization of astral energy, and that the thorns could be neutralized by placing them in it. If so, can't the same also be done to the Great Spirit, seeing as the thorns are simply part of it?
Well, can it?
It is true that the Renis Alma is capable of what you suggest, and could contain the Great Astral Spirit.
Yes!
However, doing so requires fine control on the level of the spirit channeling ceremony. Considering that the Renis Alma was previously lost when that ceremony failed, I cannot allow it. Its uncertainty is simply too great.
What does that mean for us if you won't allow it?
Your starship will not be restored, and you will all be unable to leave here.
Why you?
Fine then. I'd rather stay here and rot than do it your way.
Alphen?
Whatever we do, if we mess up, Dana's screwed. The Great Spirit will destroy it. If you're fine letting that happen, and we have nothing to gain either way, then I'd rather do nothing. We want to stop Dana from getting destroyed. We want to save it. But not if it means having to sacrifice one of us in the process. If all you're gonna do is sit back and watch us where it's safe, then quit ordering us around and shut up!
Alphen.
What you say is irrational. Be that as it may, I shall accede to your demand.
You'll agree?
I am an observer. The Sovereign, Maiden, and Renis Alma are my species' greatest achievement. I wish to see how well they work against the Great Spirit in light of our demise by its hands.
But what are we supposed to do about the Renis Alma? One of your buddies ran off with it back on Lenegis.
It is likely that the Renis Alma is with the Great Spirit, functioning as a catalyst for it to receive Dana's astral energy.
So our only option to retrieve it is to head straight for the Great Spirit and take it back?
According to my observations, the astral energy is most densely concentrated in the center of Rena, where the Great Spirit's core is located.
So right in the middle of that giant flower, then.
I have one more question. You've said that Rena's great astral spirit is already integrated with the planet. What will happen to Rena once it vanishes?
Without the will of the Great Spirit, Rena is predicted to collapse. Even in such a scenario, the energy will disperse.
So you're saying that even if we manage to beat the Great Spirit without destroying it...
Likely, the collapse will occur in stages. It is recommended that you all...
Man, I wish that thing...
Hevrek 35 and the others have gotten used to hypothesizing from afar, so fix our starship.
Excellent.
But I want to make one thing clear. We're doing this for ourselves, to protect what matters to us. We're not doing it for yours. Remember that.
It matters little to me. The repair work on your starship has commenced. Finished.
Man, is it too much to ask for Hevrek?
Is the Renis Alma really our only hope against the Great Spirit?
Shion's Fire Master Core was able to suppress astral energy. To prevent... Couldn't we make use of that
I'm not sure. In small doses, maybe. And with the amount of energy we're talking...
Back in Calaglia, the Blazing Sword was able to take in a whole spirit vessel's worth of energy. If it has the capacity to manage that...
Except after it absorbed the energy, it ended up releasing it all moments later, remember? Let's not forget, it nearly killed you. Besides, this is the Great Spirit we're talking about, not a paltry vessel. Even if I could you...
Hevrek 35 didn't mention it, and it did not seem the type to skimp on details. So as soon...
You're probably...
You still thinking about what the scientists told us? About where Renan...
I am, but not for myself.
You're worried about the future of the Renan people.
The fact that our people have been the same this whole time will only give the Danans further reason to
But you still intend to confront this truth head-on.
Well, I did declare that I would live my life even as I dream of retirement. I shall remain dedicated to the cause.
I'm sure you'll do great.
Now that I think about it, I don't believe I've ever heard you criticize or reproach us Renans even once.
I'm no saint. I have skeletons in my closet too. There was definitely a time when I hated Renans for who they were. I hated them just for being Renan. But you changed that, Dohalim. You gave me an opportunity to see them in a different light. Thanks to your reforms, we were able to stand next to Renans not as slaves. Of course, I'm sure there were some Renans who... But we knew that not all of you were like that. There were When it comes down to it, Renans are just people. They can be good or...
That is, in essence, the heart of your approach.
Yeah, it is. When you can pull someone aside and talk to them one-on-one, but as soon as you stereotype, that chance goes away, and you...
I understand what you're saying, but we're talking about massive numbers. Realistically speaking, surely they won't all be able to get...
Even if we end up butting heads with one person, maybe we'll find... If we can build a society that works like that...
So you wish for people to form real bonds and do away with the hierarchy outright? To deal with one another as humans, and nothing more? That's the...
Yes, I do. I think it would make for a fine tribute to my brother's legacy. Do you still plan to return to Lenegis when this is over?
Indeed I do. I don't know whether I'll be able to reside in Lenegis proper, however. My first order of business may be to find somewhere to live.
You'll always have a home in Menancia.
As I
Well, if you ever need a helping hand, don't hesitate to come get me. I'll always be there for you, Doe.
Did you just... Never mind. Thank you, Kisara. I appreciate your patience as I work all this out.
Don't even mention it. And really, when you think about it, now that we know the two of us aren't so different after all, don't you think that brings down a barrier that used to be between us?
You know, I hadn't actually thought of it that way before. But I do like the sound of it.
Yeah, I think I do too.
Hey, why'd you call me here? Was there...
Well, so I wanted to apologize.
Apologize?
I was being real stupid before. About whether Dana's will had been controlling us and all that. I get why you're angry now. Anybody would be if something they trusted would. So, I'm sorry, Rinwell.
No, Law. Honestly, I think you might have been onto something. Of course you were worried. Who wouldn't be if they found out there might be some invisible force pulling our strings?
But you really trust Dana's will, don't you? Is it because you can sense it a lot more than the rest of us?
Yeah, I think that might, but I think I also want to believe.
Believe?
Remember how I used to really resent coming from a family?
Yeah, of course. Because you were always on...
When we rescued Zephyr and I finally decided to come along with you all, something changed inside me. It was the first time I felt like my powers had any meaning. Then, when I felt Dana's will, I was overwhelmed by how vast and warm. It made me want to believe my powers were made to connect with it.
So that's why you hope it doesn't turn out to be bad. You almost...
Yeah.
Well, alright. Then I promise I'll lay off...
You will?
There's no way for me to know for sure one way or the other, right? But you trust it, Rinwell, and that's enough for me.
Remember what I said about... That's not quite true. I can feel just a little bit of Rena's inside you. I sensed it when we first got here. It's a really small amount, but I think that's how Dana's energy probably...
So you're saying there's a little bit of Dana's will inside each of us? In a way, doesn't that mean we're all Dana's will?
What?
Well, like you said, unless Dana's energy comes together, it has no will. So if we all have a little bit of Dana's astral energy inside...
Yeah.
Effort 35 might know the answer. But, you know what? I don't need to ask it. My will is my own. I fight for who I want to fight for. So thanks, Rinwell, for
Ah.
To be honest, the only reason I was suspicious of Dana's will, well, I feel like you and I had grown apart lately, and I was worried it was because...
Huh?
Never mind. Nothing. Just forget about it.
Huh? No, what were you saying?
Saying? I don't remember
Come
saying
on.
anything.
Now you won't tell me what you were thinking?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Then spit it out already.
Are you sure you don't want to get some rest?
I can't. I've got too much on my mind. Especially knowing how close our last battle is. How are you doing, Xion?
Same as you, still trying to absorb everything.
Remember when it was so simple? We were only fighting all the lords on Dana? All of that feels like a lifetime ago, doesn't it?
Ages and ages ago. Everything that's happened since we first met. So many fights, so much chaos, so many wonderful people.
If I hadn't run into you that day, well, I wouldn't have met all of you. I never would have held the blazing sword or looked for something more. I wouldn't have my memories back. I'd still be a faceless slave, like as not long dead.
Hey, Alphen. I want you to promise me something.
Yeah?
If we can't find the Renis Alma, there's something I want you to do. Like Hevrect 35 said, the only way we can end the Great Spirit for good is to go after both the main body in Rena and the thorns in me. I need you to promise me, Alphen, that if for some reason we can't get the Renis Alma back, you'll use the blazing sword to destroy the Great Spirit, and me along with it.
Huh?
It's true the blazing sword may not have the strength of the Renis Alma. But it's taken us this far. It's slain lords and beasts. At the very least, it has to be worth a try.
You can't be serious. Have you forgotten everything
Listen,
that we've...
The Great Spirit isn't just our problem. It's a threat to our entire world. Renans and Danans alike. We don't know what's going to happen when we face it, but we need to be prepared for anything. We can't second-guess ourselves when the time comes. I promise you, I'm not planning on going anywhere. I'm prepared to fight with absolutely everything I've got. But if it comes down to it, I need you to be prepared too.
Okay. But you should know that I'm not going to give up on you, Xion. I'm going to fight this until the very end. I hope you can forgive me for that.
Alphen. Okay, I understand. And I'll forgive you.
Thank you, Xion.
So it's a promise then?
Yeah, it's a promise.
I remember how I felt the first time you touched me. My thorns made any contact a mistake no one would ever make twice. After they'd seen what could happen, fear would always linger behind their eyes. In my entire life, I never had someone willingly reach out to me. But when you reached out to me and gently took my hand, You didn't react at all. It was so easy for you. I don't have words for the shock I felt in that moment.
That's because I couldn't feel pain back then.
Even once you could, though, you still chose to keep reaching out to me. And when you did, I felt this warmth that I had never known before. But still, I hate having to see you suffer through it every time you do.
You won't have to worry about that for much longer.
You think so?
I do, because Shion,
No. You can tell me once my thorns are gone. Okay?
Yeah. Okay. Everybody get enough rest? We ready for this?
Yeah, we should probably get moving.
Agreed. Can't stand around waiting all day.
Our task is relatively straightforward. We need only descend down to Rena, defeat the Great Spirit, and restore stability to both worlds.
We're fighting for a new future for both Dana and Rena.
Right. We've come this far. We will save our worlds. That's a promise.
Then let's go, everybody. We've got one last wall to tear down.
Repairs on your starship are complete. Everything is in working order.
Is that you, Hevrek 35? You can see us from where you are?
I can. I can see anywhere within the bounds of Dake Faisal.
Sounds like someone's a peeping Tom.
Maybe we should give Hevrect 35 a break. It has been stuck in this tiny facility for a very, very long time.
I have unlocked all functions on your starship. You can now make use of its warp drive.
Warp drive? Wait, you mean like what the Red Women used on us? What brought us here?
It's possible that the Red Women may have found a way to activate it on the starship. They are Helganquil, after all.
Using the warp drive, you should be able to breach Rena's atmosphere without being detected.
Wait, should?
You'll need to be careful. Due to the force field surrounding Rena, the ship will be unable to go any further than the surface of the planet.
So, once we reach the shell, it appears we'll have to infiltrate the core by foot. Understood.
We gotta go all the way down just walking?
Will all the Helganquil go back to normal once we defeat the Great Spirit? I have a strange feeling we're going to have to fight them before this is all over.
The extinction of my people is inevitable at this stage. As such, it would be illogical to risk the success of the mission in a vain attempt to save my kind.
We understand.
Can't that thing lighten up a bit? Everything it says seems to be about what's illogical.
Well, come on, Doe.
Hold up, did you just...
You heard the lady. Get going.
I have one last question.
What?
As Sovereign, your identification number indicates that you are well past your predicted life expectancy. Similarly, the Maiden lacks any identification number, as her function should have been rendered unnecessary. Despite this, the two of you continue to exist. Why?
We exist because others have entrusted this to us. Over the years, many people have come together and sworn to see this through to the end.
You mean it is because of multiple chance interactions? The likelihood of such events is statistically improbable. Why have you two continued to persist under these conditions?
It's hard to explain. To be honest, I don't think it's something an observer could understand. Time to get back on the Fall Knights.
It would appear that our Helganquil host really has fulfilled it.
You know what that means.
I guess this means we should give...
There's nothing here. This weird ocean we're surrounded by just stretches out everywhere. Is this really where the Helganquil come from?
I don't sense even a trace. This world is...
Then this must be the Hollowing.
You mean to tell me this whole world? The entire...
And it's covering everything. The entire planet.
This is what the Great Spirit does. After it depleted this planet of every last speck of astral energy...
So arresting. This world of doom.
Back in its day, Rena, but after being robbed of its astral energy for so long, those days are gone and past. This is all that will remain.
So the Great Spirit took everything. It stole energy not just from...
And it bound the Helganquil in servitude, until their whole world...
With nothing left here to consume, the Great Spirit turned...
You're saying if we don't stop it, this...
We can be sure that even...
If the Oblivion and Darkness, both Shion and Naori... It looks like we can climb down from there. Let's take a look.
So this is Rena. This is where everything began. Yet it's a dead world?
I... won't...
A hollowed ocean is far...
What do you mean?
Come to think of it...
Nah, I'll pass.
This is essentially a world-sized...
No, because I...
Taking an interest is
Looks like we're not going to be...
You think I was... So the idea is to seal the Great Spirit inside the Renaissance using the Sovereign and...
I'm guessing it won't be as...
I already had wielded astral energy once 3 centuries ago. As for suppressing her thorns, Shion's had a life... The problem isn't just our enemy's strength. It's that it's sentient, too. And you can bet anything you like it's not going...
In other words, we need to find some way to weaken it in advance.
Back when Shion's thorns flew out of control, we were able to...
If that's the case, it should make them easier to attack at least. And if we...
We might just be able to weaken it enough to steal the Renaissance. Which, it won't be easy, but it's our only... Question for you. Let's say, knock on wood, everything turns out for the best.
What'll the world be like? Is that...
Yeah, I mean...
A lot will have to change, that's for sure. The world will have to adjust to so much. My only worry is if those changes...
What do you mean?
It's well and good putting an end to Renan rule. But if it just turns...
That's true.
Renans, Danans, astral art users...
If only we could see differences like that for what they are. No different to someone having a musical... Not differences, so...
It will take someone in power to set an example.
There will no longer be any need for the example.
That's where we come in. We can... Imagine it. A world where magic and astral art...
Yeah, you're right, Rinwell.
like we've warped into that pit of astral energy.
I wonder what Helganquil civilization...
I can imagine that'd be something...
There's no question it must have been advanced.
I get that you're itching to
Put a pin in it.
I can think of worse things than a retirement.
It's a little early.
A man can dream.
Oh, we didn't...
In your case, Dohalim, dreams have a habit of...
You'll need to stay with us for now.
Why do I feel this is less...
Just a friendly...
Hey! Is this about dinner last night? I did...
What? No!
Rinwell.
Oh, yeah, right. So I was thinking about those armored soldiers.
Yeah, they're designed to make whoever's wearing them stronger. At least...
Right. So it kind of begs the question then.
I don't know, makes them more intimidating, I guess? Or maybe
You don't think it's weird how the armored soldiers are the exact same height as the Helganquil?
Can't say I'd ever noticed it.
Connect the dots!
Okay, let me get this straight. You think the armored suits might have originally been designed to allow Renans to work alongside the Helgan?
Huh. But
it would mean... just...
Not... hugely? Hey, Kisara, well, I've got you. What's on tonight's menu?
Get him, Hoodle. Oh, now you want to
ow! You know, guys, when you think about it, we've taken out a lot of zoo...
You can say that again. If one thing's for certain in this world...
Isn't it weird that they're still so plentiful? You don't think the Renans have, like, a ranch where they...
Certainly in all of my years, I've never heard of them constructing such a massive facility.
The only thing I can think of, then, is that the feral ones must be
There's also no organized effort on our part to hunt...
Exterminate them?
What do you mean?
Zeugles originally used to be living creatures native to Dana and Rena, right?
You're right. Zeugles were only created because of us Renans.
First people made Zeugles, and then we let them go. And now we're trying to kill them because they're a threat. They really have only seen the very worst.
I hope we find a way to be...
It's a nice thought, but they attack towns and cities.
Aside from the strays that have gone wild...
If we had distinct territories that didn't overlap, that...
Well, I guess when you look...
Helganquil! Guess they don't need their Red Woman disguises anymore.
Wait, can you understand us?
It's no use. We're not going to get through to them.
So they really are being controlled.
I knew there was something off here!
They're not pulling punches. We have no choice but to beat them at their own game.
Searing Gale! Stop!
It's too much! An astral art?
That's my cue!
Sword Rain Alpha!
Shut him down!
Dragon Storm!
Here, let me help!
Win!
Don't give up! Hey,
Eat this!
It's